Hello and welcome to another Naruto CCG tier list video. This is the second video that I've done on this kind of topic, but this time I'm going to be doing the tiers based on the limited and semi-limited Untap ban list, rather than actual individual deck profiles. Like the last one, this is going to be sort of a free-form thing. I'm not going to try and do any edits or, I don't know, any sort of work. I'm just going to make it one long recording session, casual kind of thing. As I said, I'm going to be doing this on the Untap server Rogue List, not on the Great Ninja Tournaments Discord server Rogue List. So keep that in mind. This is mostly for people on YouTube who are playing their own formats or playing the Untap format specifically, not for anyone, in the server. I am going to cater this mostly towards people who know the game pretty well. I'm not going to go over what any of the cards do in any great detail. I'm not going to be reading over them. So unlike my deck profile videos, this is for the more, intermediate to advanced level players. I will also not be going over any of the other official formats because I don't know them that well. Most of the overlap is pretty great. If a card is pretty busted, it tends to be busted in any sort of region of the world that you're playing in. But in terms of what they have banned in other lists like the Midwest list or the Humming list, they have some things on there that I've never really experimented with, and I don't exactly know the reasoning behind their bans. So in that case, I'm just not going to be going over them, and I don't know, I guess you'll have to do your own research, or maybe I'll look into those someday. But yeah, this is just going to be the Untap list, so I might as well get started here. I'm starting with the first 8 here, 5, 6, 7, 8. They are all semi-limited, which means they're allowed to have 2 copies in your deck as opposed to all the rest down here that you can only have 1 of in your entire deck. So by their very nature, they are automatically more acceptable than the rest of the list, so you might assume that means that just means they're worse. And I think overall that is generally true, but I think there is some leeway into what makes a card good, what makes it very strong, and definitely the player himself is a huge factor in that. But just know that I'm kind of basing this off of where they are in their own tiers rather than against themselves. I'm not going to be comparing Kushina to Yamato controlled by fear or something like that. They're not really comparable. One is at 2, one is at 1. So yeah, just get that out of your mind right now. But starting off with Kushina here, she is very strong. I'm going to put her at a solid B tier. I think she's very good. I think growth is incredibly important for her and actually makes her slightly better than Ink Leech. If you know me at all, you know I have this opinion and have had it for a while. But yeah, I think Ink Leech actually deserves to be unbanned, and Kushina is slightly better than that. But it is really only better than Ink Leech when you're allowed to have 2 of them, which is kind of what I was talking about before. So for now, I'm going to put it the B tier, just kind of keep things in the middle, see how they grow up or down. So I'll go into, I'm doing this in order of clients, ninjas, jutsus, then missions. So next, there's the only semi-limited ninja in the Untap list, so I'm going to be going on to Fang's Rush. So I think Fang's Rush is actually really good. The ability to see your opponent's hand and kind of snipe a jutsu or mission in their hand before they can even use it is really, really good. Weapon as the requirement is very universal, but not too universal that, everybody can do it. So yeah, I'm going to stick that in A for right now. And Naruto 2K Uzumaki Barrage. This might be a hot take. I don't think this jutsu is that good. It is a snipe. And it doesn't have a turn requirement for the Naruto, just as clone status. But honestly, the random coin flip aspect, and this is something I'll be getting into in just 2 cards here, means that I don't find it very consistent. And by going into the jutsu knowing that it's inconsistent, I, at least personally, tend to overfeed it to make it a guarantee. So you have to draw or reveal ninjas from the top of your deck and deal damage based on how many you pick. So, you pay 4 extra chakra and you flip 4 cards. You need half of them to be ninjas to get a kill. That might be kind of likely because ninjas are the most popular, population of the deck. But I'm not going to feel comfortable putting just 4 chakra in there hoping to get half of the ninjas. So I'd much rather use like Rasen Shuriken, which with its non-expert effect is a 4 chakra snipe kill, exactly the same as paying 4 chakra for 2k barrage. And I just think that's better. You can't use it earlier, but like Naruto decks, you're gonna want to turn 3 is not late, So yeah, I'm gonna put that in C tier for right now. It might go up, but honestly, I'm not a huge fan. Puppet Master Jutsu. I think this is at least B tier, so I'm gonna put it in A for right now. The ability to put 7 puppets into your team potentially is massive, and the total bullshit ruling of Assault of Snakes, allowing Puppet Master Jutsu to pull multiple of the same ninja without having to check for uniqueness, as long as they're not on the field already, means that you could get some crazy ninjas out on the field. You could get like 2 Chikamatsus, you could get 2 like Hirukos or 3rd Kazekages or something. Only downside is if you are playing with Chikamatsus, then you might pull some puppets into your team that are going to prevent you from attacking or battling at all the next turn, and that might actually kind of fuck you over. But generally, I think it's really good. I don't think it's broken, but I think it's very good. This Rasengan, sort of the same issue as the 2k barrage I was talking about before, but I'm going to put it in A tier also. The problem being that you do have to flip coins for your chakra this time, but the fact that it's 2 full teams on the battlefield means that if you're dumping like 16 chakra in this to guarantee that you get kills, you're going to be killing probably 6 ninjas, as opposed to 2k barrage, which is just not killing that amount in any way. So yeah, I'm going to put that in A tier. It's definitely a huge closer, and you can afford to dump into it because the game is over at that point. Mind Transfer Jutsu, this is, it might be the first S tier. It's extremely good. Any Earth deck should be running it. Pretty much any deck with mental power at all should be running it. The fact that you can just throw like an Eno Childhood on here and get one of your opponent's ninjas forever, and then, sack it off for something or reinforce it into one of yours is kind of insane. Even just taking them away to add to your turn for that fight is pretty good. Shikamaru's Decision, I'm going to put it in A tier. The fact that it's based on mental power kind of bites you in the ass sometimes, but searching for a female and getting another draw as well as a search is extremely good. Substitute, I'm going to put it at B, only because I think that it's broken if you build your deck to use it. If you don't, it's not really that worthwhile. It could kind of pop things out for other things that you need, or it could act as like a heal sort of. But I think it's mostly limited because of shenanigans. Basically, you can cheese out like the 4th Hokage and then use Substitute and swap that 4th Hokage for a different turn 6 ninja that stays in permanently. Even though you can get the 4th Hokage to stay in permanently. But yeah, the ability to just kind of cheese out extra things by cheesing in some things is pretty good. So this is all now limited, so these are all only at 1 in your entire deck. And starting off their clients, first is Amy. Amy's just solid. I can't put her lower than A, I think. She looks at your opponent's hand, which is crazy. She procs off of having just 1 other female in your village, which you're gonna have. You've got Kushinas, you've got Eno Childhoods, you've got, I don't know, Hotarus, Honares. You're gonna have a female on your field, probably. Turn 1, you can snipe jutsus and missions. It's really good. Drop this, even save it and drop it before you know there's a big fight. Take out something that they need, and went off of that. Amina, I'm going to be honest. I've never seen this card in my entire life. I've never seen a single person use this. I feel like there are ninjas that do better. She basically just unmills things to your deck and then draws a card, which is good, but you need to have milled yourself first. So I'm going to put her in this limited to obscurity tier that I made. And I made this because I think some of the cards have been limited because of very specific functions. And now the fact that they are limited means it's not really worth building around them anymore. So they've kind of become, worthless. They're not worthy of like banning completely, but now that they're only at 1, you can't really bank on ever getting them, and it's not worth like basing your deck around. And I think she's one of them. Maybe I'm wrong. I've literally never seen any single person use her. Her effect is good, but I just don't see it, being amazing. Father and Mother, S tier, 100%. They are broken. The fact that they protect themselves from missions is stupid good. The fact that they can block 2 teams is very, very good. Pretty much all puppet decks are going to be almost entirely sand, outside of like Sakura's and Sasori's. Father and Mother is stupid busted, and it is based on the fact that there are other more busted cards in puppets that just kind of work together. So yeah, easy S tier. Giant Panda, I have to put that in S tier too. In a pain deck, it is very, very hard to stop. It transfers any amount of damage and turns it into 1 damage on Giant Panda, which Heretical Icon can just heal next turn. It's incredibly easy to get out with Animal Path, and with Heretical Icons, not only is it preventing damage to your other ninjas, but Heretical Icon can just bring it back if it is killed. It deserves to be at 1. It is stupid broken. Eno Childhood, I'm gonna, maybe another hot take. I don't like Eno Childhood. I feel that the mental power cap of 5 is too steep for this to work on turn 1, so it's essentially not a turn 1 card at all. And the fact that it procs on the start of your turn means that it literally doesn't work on turn 1. You have to wait for at least turn 2. There are very few ninjas that can be a turn 0 to give her the mental power that you need for turn 2, assuming that she is the turn 1 deploy. It's mostly just Shikamaru's. Some like Sakura Kimono can also, if you're running like ADP Sakura maybe, but like you need a mental power of 3 on turn 0, and that doesn't really happen. And if you're not doing this on turn 1, then why do I care? The self-mill is also kind of annoying in a deck that doesn't want to mill. And I mean, she's a very, very good and early Mind Transfer Jutsu user, but you can wait 1 more turn and get something better, I think, with Mind Transfer. I'm just not a fan, so I'm going to put her in C tier. Kakashi, True Allies. Yeah, it's not like bad, but it's also not breaking the game. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in B tier. Yeah, I'll put it in B tier, and then I'll come back later and organize. Yeah, it's just kind of the bread and butter of the deck, but it is so late that it doesn't really matter. You can search it out, you can find it. So yeah, I don't know, it's solid, but it's not good, not bad. Kakashi, well versed. Very, very good. Is it worth A tier? This is like Amy's, and these are like staples. I'm gonna put it at the front of B tier for now. The Inherit is really good, and it's kind of a late game cleaner, kind of like Mu, the Tsuchikage, where you put him down, and if your opponent doesn't have an answer, that's kind of it. But turn 5 means that probably a lot of jutsus and missions and ninjas are going to be ending the game anyway. So I don't know the exact viability. Kankuro. See, here's the issue. I'm going to put it at the top of C tier, because Kankuro is very, very good himself. He can put in play like pretty much any ninja that you're going to want him to put in play from your hand every single exchange of jutsu, which is insane. But I feel like Puppets is better while it's focusing early on Konkoro and Black Ant. And to do that, you want to run 3 Konkoros on turn 0 and reinforce out to Black Ant on turn 3, which means you can't really use this. Half the time I have it, I'm wishing that I just had the turn 0 Konkoro anyway, because you can search for Black Ant and go into Konkoro and Black Ant. So I just don't think it's worth it. It might be limited to obscurity level, but even then, I don't know if I would want to run 2 of these. I barely want to run 1. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it in C. KNS, S tier. Being able to pseudo draw 1 card, making your Leaf Ninjas immune to ninja effects, and 3 support, that's crazy. You can also use 2 of the best Rasengan jutsus in the game. Yeah, that's pretty much all that needs to be said. Naruto and Gamakichi. Is limited to obscurity. I think, yeah, Naruto and Gamakichi is also limited to obscurity, which I think is a good thing. I have a deck that is very, very consistently able to win the game on like turn 2 because of Naruto and Gamakichi. Being at 1 means that you can still search it with your Naruto clone. So you essentially have 4 copies in your deck that you can get by like turn 3 or turn 2 kind of, or turn 1 if you put the clone in play with Messenger Ninja. So yeah, if this goes to battle reward, the game is over for that deck. And if this gets like sniped, the game is over for that deck. So I think having it at 1 is pretty much a death sentence, and having it at 2 is still really, really, really good, like broken good. So yeah, I think it's been limited to the point where it's not really worth it anymore. Toads don't even really want to use him at this point. Pakun, as I've said, I think this is probably the best limited card in the entire game. He single-handedly makes mill viable in every single form. He can mill like 20 cards in a row if you get lucky enough. He is the most important part of mill decks, and mill decks are very, very hard to stop solely because of this card. They don't really have to do much besides put this card on the field and then do anything they want. Yeah, easily one of the best, if not the best cards in the game. Sasuke, Eyes of the Hawk. Yeah, I'll put him in A tier. He's pretty good. Mostly because he can search another limited card that we're going to get to in like 9 cards, I think. But yeah, being able to search Chidori is very good. Being able to growth over like an older Sasuke. A lot of the problems with Sasuke's are that you can't run like lower turns of them. And you can't run like initial attack to put 2 cards in your chakra area and then get a different Sasuke out, but this one has growth, so you can do that. So it's very good. Water and fire, so it has both elements it can use. Turn 4 is very early, no hand cost. So yeah, very, very good. And Sasuke, Eyes of the Serpent, I'm going to put just right ahead of it. It's basically making every jutsu a kill jutsu that does damage. In No Hand Water, makes Chidori a kill jutsu. Yeah, stupid strong. Turn 5, it doesn't even stop it. Turn 5 actually makes it better in reanimation. Kind of crazy. Shion Awakened, I'm gonna put in B. It's kind of like Hydro Pump to me, where when you really need it, it saves you the game. But if you don't, you're just gonna find yourself dropping it for hand cost like all the time. It has a huge cost to the point where it is kind of a last resort. Like, they have something you need to stop right now, and yeah, it's perfect. It'll do that for you. Every other situation where it's just you have a strategy you're going for, you don't want to waste your deploy on this. So I think B is fine for now. Yamato, Controlled by Fear. Put him in A tier. He doesn't really win games. He's very, very, very good. He shuts down a lot of the game. But I don't see him as like... The criteria I'm going for here is like, if you could have 2 of these, would you want to? And I think, yeah, you would. But I don't know. I mean, he can use tree jutsu. I don't know. If you want to spam trees, you'll run Tenzo on turn 3. And I don't know. He brings a lot to the table, so I think A is fine, but I'm just not sold that he's like, oh my god, I hate this card, like Amy, like Rasengan, Puppet Master Jutsu, like Yamato gets put down, like, okay, I'll have to comp it, I'll have to, you know, Jutsu it or something. Yoroi, this card is so annoying. Do I think it's good though? I do think it's good, actually. Is it A tier good? Yeah, I'm gonna put it A. I will thin these out like I did in the last video, but yeah, Yoroi is very, very good. The fact that it works for 2 turns kind of means that your opponent doesn't want to do anything. It's one of those, like, you know your opponent has an out, so you can't do anything, so it doesn't really matter that they have the out, and you have to like dedicate to blowing 1 chance to get out of that bad situation, if you know what I mean. Like, you can't, he's gonna make it so that you can't battle, and if you do battle, you have to use that chance to kill him, or you don't have another chance. So yeah, I'm gonna put him here, and yeah, I'll come back to it. Kankuro and Black Ant. This is top 2 contention for best limited card in the entire game. It might be ahead of Pakun, but it's definitely top 2. It's essentially free to get out. It being limited doesn't really change anything about it at all. Your opponent can't get rid of it from your reinforcement deck this early in the game, really. If they can, it's by a pretty substantial luck swing. It's just very good on its own. It has characteristics that make it good even just as a standalone puppet without any, you know, effect. It has a kill for essentially 1 chakra early enough in the game. It can prevent your opponent from removing their own negative ninjas from the field. Like if they have a turn 3 Naruto or something, you can put a poison coin on it, and now outside of growth, no, not even outside of growth, even with growth, they can't get rid of it to make their Naruto usable again, because growth transfers all coins except for growth coins onto the new ninja, so that doesn't even stop it. Yeah, Kankuro and Black Ant, possibly the best card in the entire format. Naruto True Allies, the reinforcement version. Kind of like Kakashi, ironically. I think it is really good, and I think limiting it didn't really do anything because you can kind of bounce back and forth with the Naruto. Maybe it's just that True Allies isn't stupid broken. They're kind of just like a glue that any, you know, Leaf deck, Lightning or Wind or Fire or whatever can run. Yeah, I do think he's really good, so I'm just going to throw him in here in the middle a little bit. Naruto, the reinforcement Kage one, has to be S tier, because if he comes out on the field, the game's pretty much over. Lightning just has the ability to pay to gather crap loads of chakra, and with that chakra, he can put in play any Leaf Ninja in the entire game, basically for free. If 2 of these are in the deck, then you can do an infinite chain and win. So this has to be limited to 1. It literally cannot function at more than 1. And yeah, it's worth running in every single Naruto deck. Onto Jutsus. Chidori Stream. Very, 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 very good. Yeah, I'm going to put it in S tier. If it resolves, you've probably at least put yourself in an extremely advantageous position. It does kill your own ninjas, which means that you kind of want to be careful. Like if you're winning really hard, this is not going to make you win more. In fact, it's probably going to bring your opponent back into the game. So it's kind of risky in that situation, but being able to kill all of your opponent's ninjas if you went first and drop this on the first turn you can is pretty great. Sasuke, Eyes of the Hawk, can search it, which means that if you can get Sasuke out, you can get this. Doesn't matter that it's limited for search purposes, and you can search Sasuke very easily. So essentially, this is only at 1 because you don't want your opponent to be able to use it more than once. But that doesn't really matter because once it's used, you've probably got the game. Dispatch of Anbu, I'm going to put it like top-ish of B. It is limited to obscurity in some sense, in that your deck has to kind of be built to find this jutsu very fast. Like, that kind of has to be the whole point. And Anbu have been so heavily nerfed. Like, there's so many Anbu that are banned because they were so good, that there's kind of not a lot left to build a deck with. I mean, obviously you super can, and it's a super viable deck and build. But like, if you don't hit Dispatch of Anbu or it gets battle rewarded or something, you're not in a good spot, and that obviously makes it risky. And if you're running an Anbu deck, you want to swarm, and this is kind of like the end game. Like, this is what you're going for. If this is gone, your deck's purpose is kind of screwed. So yeah, top of B, might go up. Fear by Genjutsu, this is an S tier jutsu. This jutsu wins games on its own. Push back a whole team to win you battle rewards, push back a whole team to negate their jutsus. If your opponent is at 8 battle rewards, this jutsu should be the thing they fear the most. They would be very aware that any single team of 5 or more needs to be able to survive a Fear by Genjutsu, or the game's over for them. Usable by anybody, literally anybody in the entire game. It's only 3 chakra to push an entire team away. Yeah, stupid strong jutsu. Hydro Pump, once again, hot take. I don't like Hydro Pump very much. It's really, really good, don't get me wrong, but 4 chakra is a lot of chakra, and sniping 2 ninjas is really, really good. I don't think it's going to win you the game, especially since they go back to your opponent's hand, and they can, if you didn't win in that turn, they can put them back next turn, and obviously that's a huge detriment. But like, I don't know, if you're sniping like KNS because you have something that you want to do to them next time, they're just going to put KNS back in. It doesn't like permanently remove them, it just kind of makes it an obstacle to get around. And like I was saying before, 4 chakra is a lot. This isn't really a jutsu that you can like afford to protect with negation jutsus, because like, for example, you put down Rasengan and you're about to kill 2 whole teams. Your opponent uses jutsus to try to negate Rasengan. You are absolutely doing everything you can to keep this Rasengan going. But if you drop Hydro Pump and your opponent's going to negate it, do you win if Hydro Pump goes off? How much chakra do you use to protect Hydro Pump? I feel like not a lot. Maybe I'm just stupid, but like, I don't know. Hydro Pump is like the jutsu on the limited list that I almost never consider unless it's in a win deck and I can use it for cheaper, or like I need some sort of snipe that just doesn't exist, like Earth decks that, I don't know, they're not running a snipe, or like, I don't know, Samurai that need like any colorless jutsu they can get. I don't know. I'm not a big Hydro Pump fan. I think it is really good. I just think it's not the best that it could be. Reanimation ninjutsu, this is why the limited to obscurity tier was created. If I put this in the top, does that mean it's the most limited to obscurity or the least? I'm gonna put it at the top. Because the reason I've made this tier is because of this jutsu, where the reason this jutsu is limited is because if you have 2 of them, then you can have 1 reanimation ninjutsu in your discard pile, one reanimation ninjutsu in your hand. You can play the one from your hand, pick up the one from your discard pile, draw a card, use the one that's now in your hand, pay reanimation ninjutsu as chakra to put it in your discard, pick it back up from your discard, and you can do an infinite chain to draw infinite cards with 2 cards. Or you can just keep chaining to pick up 2 other like limited things in your discard pile. Like one reanimation ninjutsu can pick up Hydro Pump. You can use Hydro Pump twice. You can use Fear by Genjutsu twice. So like it has to be at 1. The reason it's broken is when you can use 2 of them. And now that there's only 1 of them, is it good? Yeah. Healing and drawing a card is good. Picking up from your discard pile is good. But this isn't a jutsu that you pick it up and you're like, oh boy, game's over now. I'm going to win with this. So yeah, limited to obscurity, I think, is perfect. Release of chakra. I'm going to put like the top of A or of B. There are a lot of times I pick up Release of Chakra and I just have enough things in my hand that I want to keep that I just can't use this. And it feels so bad because drawing 3 is so good and it gets you 3 chakra as well. It's one of those situations where it's like, when I need this, it is the greatest jutsu I've ever found. If I don't need this, I will never need it. It'll be a detriment for me to use. It'll not even benefit me whatsoever. So I'm going to keep it top of B. Once again, all of this is probably going to shift around a little bit. Spontaneous tree summoning, bottom of A, I guess. It's limited because it has to be. It's just really, really good. And if it's the game ender for Revitalize. And because it's Revitalize, limiting it doesn't really do much. It can't be discarded. The only way you can get rid of it is to make it a battle reward. So this being the end game jutsu, this is probably where it's got to be. Summoning jutsu, the snake version. I'm going to put in C tier. Now, all of this is in relation to being limited. So, like, C tier means it's still pretty much better than every other jutsu in the game that isn't limited. But needs the Jonin to work, and there are Jonin on turn 0 even. Like, Kabuto is even on Element, and you can use this to summon Manda turn 0. But, like, okay, you can summon Manda. Technically, you can summon any snake attribute. So, like, you can summon a Kabuto or an Orochimaru or Sasuke. And that's good. But, like, you need a Jonin on turn 0. I don't know. Just doesn't feel, like, worth it. Like, it's a jutsu that gets out something else that's worth it. So I don't think it's amazing. Summoning jutsu, whatever the number is for it. I think A, probably. Oh, how did these get highlighted? Highlight on. Oh, there we go. A tier. There's the shenanigans with 4th Hokage Younger Days. He's turn 4, so he gets the sort of expert effect to keep in the ninja. It can put in play Great Ninja Toads to essentially kill something by putting it to the bottom of the deck for free. If you do like what I do and have Naruto and Gamakichi to put in play Fukasaku, you can use summoning jutsu with him to cheese. So yeah, it's really good. I kind of like the other summoning jutsu better with like Gamabunta landing on a guy, but it is good, and when you do the combo, that's kind of the point. Big Bang, S tier jutsu. It's very simple. You draw cards. Drawing cards is really, really good. It's hand neutral, and it's actually chakra positive. So you get a net value of new cards for no loss of hand size, and you get a chakra. So yeah, stupid good. Water Dragon Jutsu. I'm going to put in A tier. I've never really resolved this jutsu and thought I win now. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong, but I don't know. It has kind of a big cost, and 1 damage to every ninja is really good. Like, injuring everybody is kind of crazy, but whenever I resolve it, I don't know, it just doesn't. All right, I'll put it in A. Fine. But that's gonna bump my tiers down. All right, I think I'm gonna have to make this a square grid. Give me a second. They're too tall. Okay. Where'd my water dragon go? What just happened? What? Did my water dragon disappear? I think it did. All right, give me 1 second. Found it. For everybody that was watching, you were probably screaming that, hey, it's where you left it. You didn't actually take it off. So yeah, here it is. I'm going to put it in A tier like I was planning to. I think it's really good. I don't think it resolves and does a whole lot. But yeah, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt that I'm just done. 4-pillar prison jutsu. This jutsu is actually kind of cracked. I'm going to put it in A. It has limited users, but super, super good. Yeah, A is fine. Anko's memory. I'm so torn on this mission. I'm going to put an A for now. It's really good. Like, getting back something in your chakra area for free is really, really good. You can't use another mission if you pick it up that turn. Yeah, it's got to be at least A. It's really good. Cooking match. Once again, I've literally never seen this card. I'm going to put it in C tier for now, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to see if I have different feelings about it. Crying in Vain. I never see this either, but like, is it limited to obscurity? It's so good though. But it's not better than like, well, is it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've got to put it in B. Crying in Vain, like, it shuts down so many decks. I think it's only limited because it just makes some decks unplayably bad and does nothing to any other deck. So yeah, I think that's got to be it. Fond Memories, C tier, but only because it is so niche that it's either cracked or dog shit. Like, you use Fond Memories, and then if you have a coin flip deck, that turn is, you win the game on that turn. I've been trying to cheese Fond Memories in a Amaterasu deck, where Amaterasu mills for every heads that you flip, and you get to flip until you get tails. So you just play Fond Memories, resolve Amaterasu, and you flip your coin 50 times and mill 150 cards of their deck. Otherwise, worthless. So I think it's got to be C. Ghost Panic. It's so close. I'm going to put it in limited to obscurity, but I think it belongs in D. I'll have it as my only D here so far. It's so good, but at 1, it's to the point, like, if you're doing a reanimation kind of deck, then you have your own method of bringing your ninjas back. Ghost Panic being at 1 is just kind of like a win more situation, or at the very least you're going against how your deck is trying to play, and you don't really want it at 1. Like, is it good in every deck? Yeah, but you can't just throw it into any water deck and hope for the best. Like, you have to have something in your discard that's targetable and like worth bringing back. And if your deck isn't built to do that, then you probably don't have a target and you're not going to be able to use it very much. So I'm going to put D, which is kind of crazy because how good it is, but I just don't think it functions very well at 1, but I don't think it's like useless basically. Invasion of Akatsuki, really, really good. I'm gonna put like top of B tier. I love this mission. No hand cost. You can search for any rogue ninja, and rogue ninjas and Akatsuki in your chakra get ambush. There are a lot of Akatsuki, surprisingly, that don't have ambush, and that's very good for them. There are a lot of obscure rogue ninjas that don't have ambush, like Utakatas, and no, Karin does, like Suigetsu. And that gives them a purpose in your hand as hand cost. But yeah, it's basically just a standard tutor, and I don't know, it's really good and does its job. So it's kind of, you know, exactly middle of the pack, B tier. Jonin's Intervention, number 1. I do think it's squarely worse than Jonin's Intervention, number 2. So I'm going to put it in B tier. Requiring someone to get discarded first kind of sucks. Unless you have a method of doing it yourself, it just means that your opponent's going to dodge for 1 turn. Maybe you'll swing and get some battle rewards for free. But making them discard one of your ninjas is kind of hard to do, because like they can do math. They know what they can block and what they can't block, which means you're just going to have to kill your own guy anyway, which doesn't really affect if they block you or not. So yeah, it's definitely worse. And then Jonin's Intervention, number 2, A tier, top of A tier. It's just free, but it's for a limited time, but that limited amount of time is enough. Sakura's Tears, limited to obscurity. It's really good for picking back up one of the other limited cards here. And it's really, really good for using missions early. I had a ink version that would use Sakura's Tears, or first you would use just like that hero, the one that discards your whole deck. I would put Sakura's Tears on the top of my deck with the 5 that they let you keep. I would draw into Sakura's Tears on turn 5, use Sakura's Tears on turn 5 to copy Gato Reanimation. It turn 6 mission, use it 1 turn early, and bring all my inks back to mill, or to sacrifice to win the game. So yeah, huge benefit for being able to use a mission early, but it is turn 4, so there aren't a lot of missions that you want to use that late anyway, and if they're that necessary, you can probably just wait 1 more turn. So yeah, limited. If it was at 3, it'd be cracked. If it was at 2, it'd be cracked. So being at 1, kind of pointless. Suigetsu's Joy, solid B tier, I think. It's really good for disrupting your opponent's hand. You can drop this before a big fight and pretty much guarantee that they don't have a jutsu to deal with you. Maybe they get lucky. Very, very good in No Hand Water, because it makes you charge all your cards, draw new cards. Any cards in your hand are essentially, they can go into your chakra and be a second hand. So you probably don't have a hand anyway, it's just a free draw 2, and if you did have a hand, then now it's in your chakra, and that's where it wants to be anyway. So really, really good. Thread of the Tailed Beast, kind of right behind it. It mills your opponent's chakra, unmills your chakra, and that is pretty good to swing the game. Not game breaking, but just pretty good. And last, Training in the Moonlight. Another hot take. I don't like Training in the Moonlight. I've never been in a situation where it has really impacted the game at all. In fact, I've never really been in a situation where I got the discard off. Needing to have more cards in your opponent's hand, in your hand than your opponent, it's kind of hard to do. Because, you know, you're going, at least before it resolves, you're going -2 in your hand to play this plus the hand cost. So like you're at 6, your opponent's at 6, you play this with a hand cost. Now you're at 4, you draw your card, but then you have 5. So like, I don't know, maybe I'm just playing Earth wrong, but I'm never in a situation where it does what it needs to do. And the mental power for Hinata is fine, I guess. I don't really need mental power on Hinata. I don't run Hinata in mental power decks, and if I'm facing mental power, I'm not going to be beating it by playing out its rules. So yeah, I just don't know. But that's all of them. That's the entire list of limited and semi-limited cards in this game. So let me just go back through and kind of adjust here. Pakun and Konkoro Black Ant need to stay for sure. Mind Transfer, I'm actually going to move down a little bit. Father and Mother needs to stay. Panda, yeah, Konkoro, or KNS, Naruto, Chidori Stream. Is that S tier? That's not S tier. Big Bag and Fearby, yep, for sure. What's the top of A tier? It's an Anko's Memory. Is it Shikamaru's Decision? No, it's just like very good. Rasengan honestly might be the top of A tier. And then yeah, Mind Transfer's gotta be there. Yeah. Oh, Amy though. Amy buffed Chidori Stream. Is that stupid? That might be stupid. Shikamaru's Decision, I'm gonna put it kind of at the bottom. Like, it's good, but I don't know. This is A tier for limited cards. These two I think are pretty close together. Yoroi, he's just really annoying, kind of with Yamato. But what about these? Are these gonna like win the game? Yeah, this could. This could. What about Spontaneous? I'm having trouble with Spontaneous. I mean, it closes out the game so well. Yeah, I'll throw it in here. Yoroi, Yamato, yeah, those are fine. Anko's Memory. It's so good. Is it better than these? Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna put it up there. Here's the thing. Jonin's Intervention, like, it can just win you the game. You kind of just have to get lucky, though. But it's not that lucky to draw into. Yeah, it's really good because you can just drop it into a deck, and if you get lucky, you get lucky. If you don't, that's not the point. So yeah, I think it's really good. Like, you just throw this into like an Uchiha deck, and if you draw Itachi with this, then you're golden. If you don't, who cares? It's one card. Yeah. Summoning Jutsu, Yamato. Am I dropping Shikamaru's Decision to B tier? I think I am. It's really good, but like, I do run it at 2 all the time though. But that's just because it's like solid. I run 3 like loss. I don't think I'd want 3 Shikamaru's Decision. Yeah, I'm fine with that. So top of B tier. I think I was right with Release of Chakra. Kakashi, Shikamaru, Journey's Intervention, Crying Vein. Yeah. Shion. Shina. I think these have to be at the bottom. Hydro Pump. Oh, Hydro Pump. I do think Hydro Pump is really good, though. I'm going to put it more towards the top. It's very hard to differentiate these. Like, they're not the same decks. They're not, you know, useful. Oh, let me go back to, can I do that? Another fit? No. Alright. Sorry, boys. It's square. So yeah, Hydro Pump, I think it's gotta go up. Sub. I'd rather have Suigetsu's Joy than sub, honestly. Yeah, maybe. C tier. I have this long D tier. Do I need to move things down? No, I think D tier is fine just being one card. Like these are all limited, semi-limited. Yeah, that's fine. Kankuro, I'm gonna put this like, you know what? Cooking Match, D tier. So the thing with Cooking Match is I don't think it's limited because it's good. I think it's limited because it's just luck. You just hope that your opponent picks a number that is good for you at that moment. Yeah, I think it's like kind of a coin flip mechanic. They didn't limit it because it's good. They limited it because it's just like not fun. It's unfair. And not in a broken kind of way. In like it's not an expression of skill to win if you win off of Cooking Match kind of thing. Kankuro and Ino, yeah. 2k above summoning, I think. And then these, and then yeah, I think that's about it. Let me take one little pass over here. Let's see if I can get all of these in. Yeah. So here's our list. Naruto Untap, definitive, limited, unlimited tier list. I think I'm going to title it that with big caps on definitive for clickbait. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with this. There's a neat little curve distribution here. Heavier on the top because they are broken. Yeah, I'm fine with this. So yeah, leave any thoughts you have down in the comments below. Tell me cards that you think should be unbanned, like I think Ink Leech should be unbanned. I wish Biscuit could be unbanned, but it's just too broken. I wish we could just like errata that as fans. But yeah, tell me cards you think should be added to the limited, unlimited list. I think there's quite a few that I honestly can't even think of at this moment. But yeah, give me any suggestions down below. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of material. This is only the second tier list video I've done, but I should have more content like that in the future. I was kind of torn on figuring out what I wanted to tier and how I was going to make it entertaining and even possible to tier. So I got some other ideas for that, especially now that I'm going to be running out of deck profile videos soon. So we'll have more content like this, more new content coming up down there, but I still have a couple deck videos, so I just wanted to get this out because I didn't get my goat shipment today like I hoped I would. So yeah, I have to do that deck video next week. So hopefully I'll see you there, and hopefully you enjoyed this content. Let me know by giving me a like, and I will see you next time. Bye.